Hey everybody, it's Rachel with Rachel Q Stitches and welcome to my channel. Today is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025, and this is Flosstube number 126. Welcome. If you're new here, this is a channel mostly about cross stitch where I show what I've done weekly, monthly, however often I'm able to get on. I show what I do that week in cross stitch. Every now and then I might show some crochet or I might have a quilt tube where I show my quilting. Sometimes I might show a recipe or two that I do for the family, but for the most part, I would say a good 95% of my channel is cross stitch. And today, that is all we have is cross stitch. So welcome. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, please do so. It really helps my channel grow and get out the word about how wonderful this hobby actually is, how addicting it is, and it is addicting. Anyway, and influencing, I should say. Okay, so I am a little congested. I'll talk about that at the end of the video. And I am doing this video like first thing in the morning. So I have my coffee right here and I'm going to talk about why I'm doing it so early at the end of the video. Okay, so let's talk about stitching. The first bit of stitching that I have is my whip go stitching, and that is this for the second half of this week. I have my goals for my whip go is basically that every day that I sit down to stitch, I give either 100 stitches or an hour worth of stitching. And so I have my two pieces, and the first one gets the first half of the month and the second one gets the second half of the month. So for the second half of the month, I have Princess Eliana. This is a Mirabilia design by Nora Corbett. And I am doing a conversion right here. And this is on the conversion group, and I will link that group down below. Now, I made an executive decision, and that is when I show it, you'll notice, first of all, that my girl is darker than her, lighter than her. And that is because she does match my daughter's skin tone. So that is why I did that. I am going to, the lady that did the conversion also made the hair bigger. I'm not doing that because my daughter will wear her hair either big or more like this. She never has the same hair. So I'm going to follow, for the most part, this conversion. But then I think for the rest of the chart, I'm just going to stick with this. It's getting really difficult to try to figure out. I mean, not difficult. It takes from my hour of stitching to have to sit there and figure out exactly what I'm converting. So for the most part, the dress is going to be this dress, except I really like this as blue versus the green. So I'm just going to play around with it and just make the changes that I see fit. But mainly I wanted to do it because of the skin tone. Okay, all that to say. Here's what I worked on it. Okay, so I worked on her for 3 hours. And like I said, because of the trying to convert it and everything, I got a lot done, really did. But not as much as I would have liked. So I basically worked on her hair. So you can see her skin tone is lighter than the original, but darker than lighter than the conversion, but darker than the original. So that is it. That's what I got done. So I got all this done, all the hair. Except for right here, but this is a butterfly clip in her hair, and all of this is like beads and non-hair color. So I just really wanted to get all the hair color, so I picked all the browns and everything and did all that. So that is my girl. This is a fun stitch. I'm not overly, I still am not a huge fan of 36 count. I'll stitch it, but I'm not a huge fan of it. But this is, this particular fabric that I have is actually stitching up nicely. So that's good. Okay, so the next piece that I did is Books of the Bible. This is by My Big Toe Designs. And I am doing mine in the Books of the Bible in purple. Now, for the past couple weeks that I've shown you this, I've said, oh, I'm doing them in a different color purple according to genre. Well, if you are familiar with the Bible, you have your different genres, and she actually has them divided by a little flower. And the book of Job, if you're reading chronologically, comes in the middle of Genesis. That's when they believe the events in Job happened. And so I had to stitch Job because I'm stitching them as I read through the books. Well, for Leviticus and Numbers up here, I used Job color. So you know what? I was like, I'm not going to rip them out. I'm not. I mean, I never noticed. Did you guys notice? I never noticed. So it's essentially, I'm stitching each genre in a different color purple, a fancy floss, except the first book kind of has a little bit of poetry colors thrown in there. So anyway, here it is right here. So you can see right here, we finished, I have my book on my lap. We finished Deuteronomy right there. So I finished stitching this bottom part, and all I got left to do is this. And then I stitched Deuteronomy. So you see how Leviticus and Numbers are a little bit darker? I can't tell. Now this next genre is going to be a light purple. So it will be a little bit more obvious. So anyway, that's what I got done. So as I listen to my Bible reading every morning. So as I listen, I stitch the brown, all this decorative part up here. And then as I finish a book, I stitch it. That's it right there. See Job down there? Now these little dashes right here just signify the 10th stitch on the chart, just so I can count easier. And it worked. I had no mistakes. Yay. So anyway, so hopefully this week I can, well, I mean, you know, I'll finish this and then I'll stitch this upper part, the scallops, and then I'll work on the little flowers in the middle. So what I'm doing is for all of the brown and the flowers and everything, I'm sticking with some kind of fancy floss I have that looks like it might go. And like I said, the books of the Bible are going to be in purple. Different purples. When I noticed, I'm like, why are these darker? They look like Job. I'm like, oh no, I made a big mistake. But it is what it is. I'm not ripping them out. Not ripping them out. Okay. So the next thing I did was, I did not write down, so books of the Bible, wait, let me finish this up. Books of the Bible, I got 193 stitches for a total of 1,284 stitches and 10.44%. Now, I need to reach and grab something. I did the bookshelf. I know I stitched on the bookshelf, but I did not write it down in my book at all to let you know what I did. And so I have no stitch counts or anything. So I'm talking about Amy Stewart's a stitching shelf. And I don't even have it in my stack. So I'm gonna have to reach over and grab it. I'm doing the max color regular size. Hold up. And so I basically just am continuing. I'm hoping to do it seasonally, so we'll see. Basically continuing with spring, and like I said, right here is where the spring shelves should end. So I need to stop going across and I need to start working my way down. But I don't have, it has a lot of 3,800 numbers, and I don't have a lot of 3,800 numbers. My Michaels does not carry, my Michaels and Hobby Lobby basically halved their floss. Like Joann's was the only thing I had that had the whole set. Hobby Lobby used to, and they got rid of about half of them, and but neither one of them have a whole lot of the 3,800 colors. So I'm gonna have to put in a 1, 2, 3 stitch order, and it's floating between Dallas and Baton Rouge for the past 5 days. I could have driven there and gotten it, but anyway, I probably should have. It would have been easier. Anyway, so I'm just waiting on those. So I still want to stitch on it, but I really want to move my way down, and I really need some 3,800 numbers. So a lot to say, but anyway, so I can't give you stats. I might put them down here when I edit, but I don't know how many stitches I stitched because I didn't write them down for some reason. I know I stitched on it a good 2 or 3 days, but there she is. Okay. All right. The next one I stitched on is Gathering Eggs. This is in this magazine right here, Cross Stitch and Needlework. I think it is the April. It doesn't say. April 1998. Oh, it was a month after my son was born. Anyway, April 1998. This is it right here. This is a Nora Corbett design. I know you can buy just the pattern, but I actually found that finding the magazine is cheaper. They sell a magazine for like $4 or $5 and the pattern for like 60, 70. And you get lots of other charts in here too. So gathering eggs, I have had so much fun on this. Now I don't have a digital or anything. So I worked on it for 4 hours and I am enjoying it. Now this is I don't know what, I think it's a 36 count. So it's a little, not my favorite, but I don't know. I've just been really enjoying stitching on this. So I did all this green and pink. So this is a stitch along, and I can't remember her name, and I don't want to butcher it, but I'll try to put it down here. And started February 20th, and we're gonna go sharing our progress till April 20th, which is Easter. So I want to get good progress on it by Easter. So I'm trying to put in 2 or 3 hours a week until Easter. So there it is right there. She's looking good. And I would tell you what I'm doing stuff on, but my brain's not thinking right now, and I didn't write anything like that down. No, stitching shelf I know is on 20 count. And this, like I said, was some kind of mystery piece that I got at a thrift store. All right, Autumn Street. This is by My Brave Stitch. Right here. This is Autumn Street, and I got this off of Etsy. I'm doing this on a 14 count, so this is what I like to refer to as my easy stitch. Because this is what I stitch usually at the end of my stitching, because like if I've been working on a 36 or a 20 or something that's kind of, small for my eyes, this is something I can just pick up and not have to worry about that. Okay, Autumn Street, I did 441 stitches for a total of 2,924 stitches, and I'm at 22% done. Now what I'm doing, I worked a lot on just spreading around, but I do know that I worked on this right here. What I'm doing, if you're new here, is I am trying to color complete as best I can. So I'll pick a symbol that's missing, like let's say right here, and do as much as I can comfortably. I'm not really good at like counting far away, even with my grids. So I'll do as much as I comfortably feel like I can to color complete. But some of the colors I've actually zeroed out, like this red for the barn or this house right here, I've completed it. So it's coming together. It's slowly starting to look like the picture, and I love this. In fact, she's got spring, holiday, winter, so the streets, and they're just, I like them because it's not the same street, but it's the same concept. It's going to be circle, so it's going to be hung in a hoop. So love it, love it, love it. So yes, so this is my end of the day. I can actually do this while watching TV with my husband. So, and not as much lights on, just maybe my little lamp that I have. So anyway, and then I picked up something I haven't stitched on in a very, very long time. And that is my, Sunday Stitches by a Heartstring Samplery. You remember these? If you've been with me for a while, remember I was stitching these. I was trying to go and done a month. I didn't. I got several of them done. These are her hymns. So this is Blessed Assurance. So I was, like I said, I had folded it up. I had put it away. And then I was stitching on, here it is. This is some hand dyed by me. Stitching on these blue flowers. And I thought, I don't think I'm going to have room for these words. So I started stitching them. I have room for them. They fit. I didn't miscount. So this is what I got done. So I got the blue flower and just kind of filled in some stitches and then worked on the letters. So this is also a 14. No, I think I did these on 16 count. I'm not sure. I need to check my records. But that's it right there. Still love them. They're really pretty, and I really do want to finish them all because I do want to frame them over my mom's piano. So this piano, she learned to play piano on when she was a little girl. And so I really want to, you know, frame those over her piano. Okay. The last thing I stitched on. Now, this is a new start. I got another new start. I don't know why, but I did. And this, I am blaming Amy of Renewing Stitches, Laura, Stitching by the Shore, and Karen, the Stitching Owl. The first person I saw that was doing this, I think it was Karen mentioned it, or maybe Amy. One of them mentioned it. And I was like, oh, that's cute. I really like it. Then Laura showed it, and I was like, I really, really like that. And they were starting it on, I think, the 20th. And I bought the chart. I downloaded it. I put it in the pattern keeper. I had a piece of fabric that I could use. And so I went ahead and I started it. So I'm doing this on 18 count. This was just like a stray piece of fabric that just so happened to be the right size. And so I put in 309 stitches for a total of 1.58%. Now this is a great little full coverage. I'm gonna show it to you. Here you go. Right here. I love it. Now, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do these or not, because it would be a cute hoop finish. I think I'm gonna do the circle and then see how big it is and if it'll fit in a standard size hoop. And I might do that, or I might just continue on and see how big it's gonna be with the corners. Like I said, I'm not overly fond of them. They're not bad. I just don't know if I want to stitch it 4 times. Okay, truth comes out. I don't know if I want to stitch it 4 times. Okay, so this is my start right here. So I stitched this, and then I picked up some 310, and it was a long strand of 310. Not sure why it was so long, but I just went ahead and started stitching the outlines of the wings. And then you can see right here, I started stitching this purple. So I kind of picked an area, and I'm going to stitch that area, and then I'm working from the center out. So that's what I got done. So anyway, and then I forgot to mention this one. I forgot to put it in my notes. I don't know why, but anyway, I think it's because I did this after I made my notes, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and share it with you guys. I was watching, I'm not going to lie. I can't tell you who I was watching. But they were showing a sampler. And I was like, I finished my Christmas garden by Blackbird Designs. I was like, I need another sampler to work on. I like working on samplers. I don't think I could have just samplers, but I like working on samplers. So I picked up my Blackbird design, We Live in Hope, and that is this design right here. I'm kind of doing this for my dad's parents because he was in the Navy. He was a aircraft mechanic. He repaired the fighter jets, but he was on an aircraft carrier. He was in the Navy. And so I'm going to do this. He also retired, so he retired Navy, and then he retired the Postal Service. So I talked about right here, maybe finding a little post box and putting it right there. And then instead of the words, We Live in Hope, I'm going to have their initials, or I might just have the 2 last names. Because if you saw the one that I did for my mom's parents, it's actually a replica of a pew in the small Catholic church that they went to. And it has the 2 last names, my grandfather's last name and my grandmother's last name. So I'm thinking about doing that right here. I would have to move some little stuff around to do it because it would be Schmidt and Jordan. And so that's my plan. Like I said, I just started, like, yeah, I'm like right here. So I have a ways to go before I get to actually making an actual decision about what I'm gonna do. So I worked on this for a couple of hours. I watched one episode of Downton Abbey. I'm rewatching the series. I didn't watch the whole series. My daughter was watching it with me, and then she saw the movie and was like, I don't need to watch the series. I was like, so I'm started over and I'm rewatching the whole series. So anyway, so this is what I got done right here. So basically I finished this little flower and then I just kind of went across. And I think I have like maybe one or two more little loop-de-doos right there, and then I can go up. So I definitely want to work on this more often. I definitely want to put some more time into it. It's a 28 count, like a Hobby Lobby linen type of thing. So anyway, so that is my sampler that I've been working on. So anyway, so that's my stitching. I do have a question for you guys that use variegated floss. I am looking to do a Viderlanda sampler. And you can tell by what I just said, my dad's mom, her maiden name was Schmidt. Her grandfather immigrated to this country from, you know, it depends on the records you look. Some say Prussia, some say Germany. There's different, you know, things. But I know that the Viderlanda samplers were kind of in southern Germany, and Prussia was part of that, you know, how borders were back then. Anyway, I want to say, and I need to check dates, but I want to say that my grandmother's grandfather immigrated here. He had several children, and he immigrated here because of persecution. It's really a really neat story. I've enjoyed looking up that part of the history because, I mean, I know the French part for the most part, but not the my daddy's side. So anyway, so that's what I'm trying to find out is that, and then I have his dad's side, which is Jordan, which is Irish. Anyway, so that's what I'm trying to find out. And so I want to do a Viderlanda sampler, and they are, for the most part, done in black. But I don't want it to be like a black sampler. I want to use a variegated floss, and I want it to be something that, because the one that I have chosen, and I don't have a picture of it, is from the Sampler and Needlework Quarterly magazine. It's on Readly. I got it off of Readly. And it's kind of big. It's pretty big. And it's like 300 by 400. So it's a decent size. You know, it's pretty big. But I don't want it to be stark black. I want it to have kind of a faded, variegated blackness to it. So I don't want it to be, but I don't want it to go to light gray. I want it to be more of a black to maybe a hint of a dark purple or dark blue. You know what I'm saying? And a dark gray. So that's what I'm looking for. The thing is if I do it in DMC, I will need 27 skeins to get this thing done. So I need you ladies, you guys out there who stitch with variegated floss. It can, okay, another thing I'm doing, because it's so huge, I'm doing it, I bought a 25 count, and I'm gonna do it over one so that it's not so huge. It's still gonna be big, but it's not gonna be as big as Pandemic. But anyway, I'm doing it over one. So it has to be something when I do 25 count over one. That's another thing. I wanna use one strand. I don't wanna use two strands. And so over one, some kind of floss that would do good, 25 count over one, one over one, and variegated. Any ideas? It could be silk. I wouldn't mind silk. I'm going to dye the fabric myself. I just bought a piece of white, and I'm going to dye it myself. Try to make it look a little bit like the Blessed Assurance. And I'm going to see if I can put a picture of what the sampler looks like right here so you guys can get an idea of what I'm talking about. But that's what I'm hoping to do. So I want to start this. My grandmother actually passed away in May. But that is Mother's Day, my birthday month, and that's also the month my mom passed away. My grandmother's birthday, I'm not quite sure when that is. I think I'm going to look and see if I can find her grandfather's either birthday or immigration records and try to start it around that time. I know I have them. I mean, I have the stacks of books and stuff with all that stuff in it. But anyway, and it's on Ancestry. So anyhow, so I'm not sure when I want to start it, but I want to start it soon. I do want to start it soon because it's such a neat looking sampler, and I love the black. And like I said, I don't want it to be a stark black. I want it to be, a nice variegated black. DMC has one, but it goes to too light of a gray, and I don't want that light gray. I don't want that. I want it to be, I don't know. I know you can sit there and go, Rachel, I know what you're talking about. Just that faded black look, where you get that purpley, bluey color. Anyway, that's what I'm looking for. But that's why I'm doing it on 40, because I want to use one strand, because I don't like sitting there matching up my variegations. I just want to use one strand and be done with it. Anyway, I'm rambling about this black sampler that I want to do. So if you know of anything that I can use, let me know. I would appreciate it greatly. Okay, that's it for my stitching. That is it. That's all. That's all I have. Personal stuff. So, I bring my granddaughters to daycare Wednesdays and Fridays because my daughter-in-law goes to work like at 6 in the morning. Daycare doesn't open till 6:15. And that's about the time my son's getting ready to leave. So they just can't do it on those days. And so Wednesday I brought them to daycare, no problem. And then Thursday, my daughter-in-law texted me and she said the youngest one has a rash and is running a fever and she's just not doing good. And so I said, okay. She said, so can you keep her Friday? I said, well, if I'm going to keep her, I might as well keep the other one. That's just easier for me. So I picked them both up Friday and they both had fevers. She's like, they both have a fever. And I was like, okay. So she made a doctor's appointment and I get to the doctor and they're like, oh no, it's for Monday. I was like, are you serious? So my daughter-in-law is like, take them to the Children's Hospital ER, which is kind of it's an ER, but really it's more of a walk-in clinic type of thing. A lot of parents use it for that just because, when your kid's running a fever and the doctor can't see them for 4 more days, you're kind of like, okay. And we're talking like 103, 104 fever. And so I brought the girls and one of them had a double ear infection, hand, foot, mouth. That was her blisters. The other one had strep throat. Well, when I picked up the girls Friday, my son was not doing good. He had a fever. He was chills. He was just a mess. And it's kind of funny because growing up, he always had a strep throat for his birthday. It never failed. March 3rd. I mean, there was one time my doctor's like, this is the 3rd time in a row you have come here on his birthday and he's had strep throat. He's just always gotten it. Well, so I had the girls all day Friday, both of them sick. I have pictures of me holding them both in the ER, just out sleeping. And so my husband took my son to the walk-in clinic because, again, doctors, oh, no, we can see you in a week. It's like, anyway, that's why we have walk-in clinics, I guess. He had strep throat. So anyway, so they both had strep throat. My son, one daughter had strep throat, the other one had double ear infection. Well, so we had them, and my daughter-in-law works Saturday and Sunday. She works at a brunch restaurant, which is like, Saturday weekend is like her biggest time. So I'm like, no, you don't need to be taking off. You need to go to work. James and I watch the girls. So we watched the girls Saturday and Sunday. So I had them Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And, I'm talking sick little girls. By Sunday, they were better. And by Sunday, even my son said, Mom, he said, I went walk around the apartment complex. I feel so much better. And so the girls were doing much better by Sunday afternoon. I mean, they were playing, they were talking, they were laughing, they were giggling, but by then they had 2 days worth of antibiotics in them. And so anyway, so my daughter-in-law just texted me they can't go back to daycare until Friday because of the hand, foot, mouth. So anyway, so yeah, the second one has it. The older one has it. She had a little blister. I was like, crap. Dang it. So anyway, I woke up kind of feeling a little scratchy throat Monday. I was like, no, but I'm fine. I told my husband I'm fine. I woke up this morning. I'm like, I'm not fine. So when my daughter-in-law said they can't go back till Friday, I was like, thank you, Jesus, because I can't watch them. I can't. I'm sick. So anyhow, but I have a visit with my thyroid doctor that I have to go to today. So I'm going to go to him and see if he can give me something so I can start feeling better. But yeah, I go once every 2 years to my thyroid doctor. If you're unaware, I have a little friend that lives on my thyroid, and he hasn't grown in, gosh, we've been back 7 years, and they found him 3 years before we moved, I want to say. 3 years before we moved back. So he's been around for 10 years. He hasn't grown. He just sits there causing havoc on my thyroid levels. They're low, but they're not low enough for doctors to do anything about it. So I just kind of deal with it. But anyway. So anyhow, we're going to check on Bob, see if Bob's grown any. Last time I went, I think it was 18 months ago. So he's pushing back every time I come because, like I said, Bob hasn't done anything. So we'll see what happens with him today. And that's it. And that's out. I'm skipping my small group because I don't think I can function. And I'm going to get one of the other ladies to take my group. But anyway, it is what it is. So that is my life. That's what I have going on. Nothing major that I can tell y'all about. But yeah, so that is it. That's all I have. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for joining me today. If you're still here, thank you so much. I hope to get some stitching done this week. And I will see you guys next week, Lord willing. Happy stitching, everybody. Bye-bye.